Hello, African youth, the rising generations of Africa. I am delighted to have the opportunity to be with you again as we begin in our pursuit this year to establish the voice of the rising generations of Africa. The rising generations of Africa are the youth of Africa. Demographically speaking, the rising generations are people between the ages of 12 years and 30 years of age. This group comprised of two demographics, that is the youth, which are people between the ages of 12 and 17, and the young adults, who are people between the ages of 18 and 30. But we all know that politically in Africa, even people who are 40 something years of age up to 45 are also considered as youth, which is an unfortunate thing that, we have that kind of situation. So today we want to discuss one of the things that have been a major challenge in Africa, which is the fact that the governments in Africa own the people of Africa. The people of Africa are like their slaves. They are like the pawns they use to access national wealth and do nothing but steal it, apparently feeling justified as being the people in power. Then it means that they own Africa. The challenge we have with this is that if it continues like this, there will never be development in Africa. And if you have an opportunity to travel to other countries or read about other countries or follow the politics going on in the international sphere, you will find out by yourself that the reason we have huge development socially, economically, technologically, and scientifically, and otherwise, even in religion, why we have great development in North America, in Europe, and Asia at the present is because the people of these lands own their governments. In other words, the people choose those who will be their rulers, their leaders, actually. They choose leaders, they don't choose rulers. But in Africa, we have rulers. And these people, because they do not see themselves as leaders, they do nothing to develop the continent. And I'm sure to them, they feel no obligation to the people of Africa. They feel they own us. They feel they own the people. They have won elections. Therefore, uh, the purse of the country now belongs to them. And they do just whatever they like with it. This is the challenge that we have in Africa. And I have not seen this situation like this until recently. Until I had a conversation with a great guy. His name is Godspower Ikechukwu Pienu. He is an entrepreneur and he owns a market in the United States. He said his business in the United States, he's the owner of the powerful African market, which sells and merchandises in the United States with the African things, foods, clothing, and everything that Africans need to retain and continue to be Africans, even though they live in America or they have traveled to America. So his business is of great worth to the rest of the continent. Now, in a conversation we had recently, he said this and it touched me. And that is the reason why I'm coming up to discuss this issue today. He said that in Africa, that the governments of Africa own the people, while in the governments of America is owned by the people. I mean, you can see the different things, situation there. Now, If the governments in Africa own the people, it means that they have no obligation whatsoever to the people, because the people are their pawns, the people are their property, the people are the things they use to rise to power. And if you check the kind of practice of electioneering, campaigns, and democracy as the fake quote democracy that is practiced in Africa, you yourself agree with this statement that the people of Africa are owned by the politicians. The politicians decide what they call what the people is in their mind, and the politicians do not, I repeat, the politicians do not consider the people worthy of any respect. They come to elections or positions of authority simply with one intent, with their eyes centered on the treasury of the country. And as soon as they arrive there, they begin to loot the country. They loot the country until there is nothing left in it. Let me give you, as we have an example, Nigeria, the so-called giant of Africa. Nigeria is now borrowing from everybody, including Brazil. I'm sure they will soon start borrowing from Togo and Cameroon. Why is this happening? That is because the people who came to power, who are ruling in Nigeria, had their eye on one thing: Nigeria's oil wells, Nigeria's wealth, and they have, within the last few years, vandalized this totally. That right now, the government is going capping and borrowing money left, right, and center. Money that all of them will die, and for 100 years after they have died, the Nigerians are still paying for those loans they have taken. And the challenging thing is that these loans are not taken for development, because every year trillions of naira budgets are made in Nigeria. And the year will pass, one tenor will pass, another tenor will pass, and there will be no single element of development. Some roads that were being constructed or reconstructed some 20 years ago are, as we speak today, still under construction all over Nigeria. This can only happen because the government we have in Nigeria feel that they own the people, and they are not answerable to the people, and the people cannot do them anything. Now, this is the same thing that is going on in Cameroon, where the president himself lives in Switzerland and merely comes to Cameroon, maybe to sign checks and see that his own money had been transferred into his personal account before he leaves again. That's what you get there. No single development is going on in that place. Instead, they use diversionary measures, start a war with the people who merely ask for self-determination in Western Cameroon, and that's all they are doing, killing their own people. If these people feel a responsibility for the people of Cameroon, they will not start a war there. They will listen to the people who are complaining, find out the reasons for their complaint, and do something about it. Now, if you are listening to this broadcast and you are live with me right now, and you would like to come to the studio to join me and express your thoughts on this topic, please leave a comment in the comment section, from whether you are listening from YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook. Leave a message there and tell me that you would like to join me in the studios to talk about this, because the only way we can deal with this matter is to talk about it. If we don't talk about it, we won't come to an understanding of what is doing us. We will continue to cry for the next 50 years about development in Africa, and there will be none. And the moment we do not have development in Africa continuously, then the problems we have now will worsen. Now, as I took my mind through the governments in America, in North America especially, many parts of America, because improvements are happening in some of those countries, but many of them are also run like African countries. They feel those who got themselves either by shooting, through military coups, or through stolen elections, rigged elections to power, both in Latin America and in Africa. They feel they own the people. And because of this, they do not do anything to ensure that there is development. But take a look with countries where the people elected those who are in leadership positions in their government houses, in their national assemblies, in their regions and states, and all the divisions of their power. All those people who were elected by the people are accountable to the people. If I take Nigerian election, for instance, no election takes place in Nigeria. The authorities, those who are holding the reins of power, will send out the military and the police to even rig elections for them, kill people so that nobody will challenge what they are doing. And they create problems and destabilize the whole environment so they can find a way to declare themselves even when nobody wants them in power. And when they finish doing this, I think that emboldens them to feel that they owe no duty or no responsibility to Africans because, hey, after all, we did not elect them. We did not elect them. The same thing is happening in Uganda. Bobby Wine, who the last year challenged President Museveni to the presidential seat in Uganda, of course, during the electioneering, Museveni took the military, sponsored by Ugandan taxpayers' money, to destabilize, kidnap, arrest, detain, and harass all his opponents. At some point, only Bobby Wine was standing. And recently, they held a municipal election, a regional election for a member of the House of Representatives of the Assembly. In that election, it was clear that an opponent, somebody in opposition of the current Ugandan government, won that election. But what did Museveni do? He used his own veto power and ensured that the man who didn't win election was declared. Now, when they keep doing this, then there is no way that we are going to have a government that is owned by the people. Now, as I looked through these things and reviewed how other governments are functioning in other parts of the world, especially the advanced world, quote, those countries of this world that their economies are strong, they operate technology, they are evolving, they have a powerful industrial base, their economy is very strong enough to hold the people and take the challenges that are coming in the world, including the COVID and other issues. Those countries, something I found to be fundamentally common with all of them is the fact that they follow three fundamental elements of leadership. Number one, these countries are controlled by the rule of law. In a rule of law, nobody in that country is above the law, including the president. Mr. Pienu, when he was trying to emphasize how rule of law works, said that in America, a poor person, somebody who had no money, no name, according to the way we throw names in Africa, to his credit, can jail a high court judge. If that high court judge had done something wrong, so long as he himself, he saw it and has evidence, he can boldly bring those evidence up and a judge will be jailed for his misdemeanor or the offense he has committed. Now, that is rule of law in action. It means that everybody is equal before the law, whether you're rich, you're poor, whether you're male, you're female, you're black, you're white. Once we are talking the law, everyone is equal before the law. The second element that helps these governments, where the people own the government, they also practice good governance. Good governance started making the waves and rounds in the 80s, and the United Nations took that up and where some of these agencies have worked to help several countries of the world to begin to practice good governance. In good governance, it is mandated or established in the mind and heart of all those who seek power that you seek power for the purpose of developing the people, for the purpose of ensuring peace, security, and tranquility in your country, for the purpose of development. So, good governance requires that those in government positions use their position to ensure the good of life reaches the people. In Nigeria, every time we are mounting dividends of democracy, that is has continued to be something only in the mouth of politicians with no evidence on the ground. Anyone can come and challenge this and point to me where he has found, even if, for me, dividend of democracy is an aberration. People who are elected in position are responsible for directing and championing development, providing level playing grounds for industrialization and for industrialists, for entrepreneurs, for the people to establish and find their own life and do what they want, which are within the law. But what does those in African government do? They do not produce any good in the governance. So they don't practice good governance. But good governance is the key thing that gives the other governments outside Africa the chance to touch the life of their members through development. And the third element that these governments practice, which those of Africa don't, is human rights. Now, according to Amnesty International, the government has a responsibility to secure, ensure, and enforce the human rights of the citizens of the country. But what do we have? Come to Nigeria. Only people who did nothing, who are poor, are in jails in Nigeria. Even the so-called war against corruption in Nigeria, that war against corruption is directed on people who are opponents to the government. Those in government who are immersed in corruption, nobody touches them. I think it was at a point in this country when Adams Oshomole was chairman of the ruling party, APC. He said that, oh, just come to APC and be baptized and you are no longer corrupt the moment you come to APC. And that is their own. Now, which means that why they will get somebody from the opposition parties in jail for either for real cases of corruption or trump-up charges, their own people are not touched. The human rights of people are abused every day. The Nigeria police extort Nigerians, stop them, level false accusations on them, detain them, extort money from them every single day and kill them, actually kill them, shoot and kill them every single day. In Nigeria. The same thing is happening in Uganda. The same thing is happening in places like Togo, where the government there has, the president had decided that he owns the country and no opposition, anybody that dares to oppose is jailed. They have continued, African governments are abusing human rights, and because of the abuse of human rights, it is not possible for the people to express themselves, to pursue the cause of their own life and do what they need to do. Now, how can we escape this kind of situation? What I must tell the rising generations of Africa, which is the youth of Africa, the young people of Africa, is that one, they should never continue to think that they are young. You are not young. Before you know it, tomorrow will come. And that time you are thinking is forever will be in your presence, and you're not prepared to take the reins of power. And old people like Buhari or Obasanjo, dead old people, really dead, both mentally deranged, without any mental capacity again to do what is right, will take over power because you're not prepared. So young people of Africa must prepare. I want to offer an opportunity to all the rising generations of Africa through our medium to come online, raise their voice, mobilize Africa, and let's begin to work on the change that we want to happen in the continent now, not tomorrow. This is what needs to be done. If you have access to Generation 17, Generation 17 is a program that the United Nations and Samsung Technologies are working together to help the rising generations of Africa to raise their voice. Search for Generation 17, go there, find. I'm working on their program, and very soon I will bring up some of the things that they are doing, which young people should start doing. But the key element of Generation 17 is that young people need to start speaking now, not tomorrow. Because if you don't, these old people will continue to saddle the rulership positions in your country. They will continue to steal the national treasury until it is dry. There will be no development, and then strife will come. They say if you want peace, you must pursue justice. And if you want development, you have to pursue peace. In other words, if you want development, you have to pursue justice. Now, these countries in Africa all lack rule of law. They are not operating rule of law. They are not operating good governance, and they are not respecting human rights. If you are afraid of dying, if you are afraid they will kill you and therefore you keep quiet, one, even if you live 100 years, you will still die while you're on this earth. What life? What will you call the life you have lived? What will you call it? If you're afraid of dying, because of that, you don't want to speak. Now, the last time I was chatting with a group of young people, Raymond Bobson Stevens said, if you talk, they kill you. If you don't talk, they kill you. So his recommendation is that we shouldn't die like cowards. We should talk anyway, so that if they kill us, then we are dying for something other than staying and dying for nothing. Because, okay, let's take it, for instance, Nigeria, where because of poor governance, lack of good governance, because of lack of rule of law, because of lack of human rights, insecurity had taken over everywhere. People can be kidnapped right at their doorstep in their schools. School children are hounded in hundreds and put in a lorry and taken away, and ransom is demanded all over Nigeria. People cannot go to farm. Very soon, hunger will start killing the people. Very soon, the kidnappers will not be able to get money from you again, so they will go for your life. So is it better that you die fighting or die like a chicken? There was a story of a man in my place many years ago who, he gave a story of those days of slavery. So one man went to tamp palm wine in the bush, and then the slave raiders came to him to arrest him, to seize him, to steal him, because these are the armed robbers too of a sort. They seize him. He now asked them, okay, don't worry yourselves. I will follow you to anywhere you want me to go, but I have a plea to make. And they say, okay, what do you want? He said, okay, just give me a few minutes and let me rearrange around the palm that he's tapping. So when they gave him a moment, they wondered what he wanted to do. They gave him a moment. So he started beating down all the grass around the palm tree. He cut them down, pressed them down, tumbled them, turned the ground and everything. And then he now said, okay, I'm ready. And they asked him, what is the meaning of that? He told them, oh, I did that so that if my people should come here and see what happened, they will discover that I fought so hard to stop you from taking me, but you finally subdued me. That way my honor will remain even as I'm going to die. That is the spirit of a man. Do not die without a fight when a fight is necessary. In Africa today, a fight is necessary. Young people, if you're expecting that people in my age grade, those who are stealing Africa dry right now, will ever step aside for you, no way. If they will ever accommodate you in governance, they will bring you where you don't know anything, corrupt you first before allowing you, so that when you go there, you won't spoil things for them, you will not come for them, but instead you will become a pipeline for them to continue to steal the continent dry. So that's why you must have your own voice. And this is why the Town Hall Communication Company Limited has created Project 30 Before 30 International, being a program that is created to help the young and the rising generations of Africa to set 30 goals around the areas of their life and work to achieve them before they turn 30 years of age, so they can become successful, independent, and capable of taking on these politicians who are rogue rulers, who are marauding Africa, so that they can be prepared. Because whatever happens, these people will die anyway. They're going to die one day. Even if nobody was able to touch them until they still finish stealing, they will still die. But if you are not ready, you cannot take anything. And that Generation 17 of the United Nations and Samsung wants us, to the rising generations especially, to begin now to raise their voice on issues in their communities and in their countries, so that they will be able to organize themselves, become a front, and establish themselves and fight for their rights, fight for rule of law, fight for good governance, fight for justice, for human rights. Now, if you have been, I've seen people coming on and off in the bar as those who are viewing this broadcast. And if you should come up on this broadcast some other time, I want you to leave a comment and share your thought on what you think. That's one. Secondly, I also want you to make time and join me in the studios. Every time, all you need is to leave a comment that says you want to join me in the studios, and I will send you a link that will bring you directly into the studios, where you can use your own raise your voice to use it to mobilize other people. I will be glad to continue to do the work, but look at me, I am an old man. This work is yours. My calling, the way I see it, is to help raise the consciousness in you to begin the fight you must fight. I am so grateful for the opportunity to be online live today. We are going to do this throughout 2022. There's no more going back. The die is cast. We must do what we must do. We must raise the voice. We must raise the banner. We must raise the standards. Thank you very much for being with us today. Please, when you view this later, either on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, leave a comment and ask to participate so that we can prepare the ground to enable you to do so. Happy New Year. Have a great 2022 in which we expect that your voice will come live and we join mine and raise many of our sleeping giants. In our next broadcast, we will talk about the trauma, the challenges that young people are getting themselves involved today in drugs. African youths all over Africa, especially in Nigeria, they are destroying themselves with drugs. And I suspect it is these old blind and brainless politicians and rulers of Africa that are making sure that you have these drugs so that your brains will not be in order. Because if you're not thinking, you cannot take power from them. We will talk about that. Please, I want you to come and join me when we come back here tomorrow to talk about the issues concerning drugs, abuse of illicit drugs, which is now destroying the youth of Africa. Do have a great day.